Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. I think I'll be using Wolfe's team for this one, and then the next episode, and then we'll be switching to a brand new team, so if you have any suggestions or comments for what you'd like to see, definitely let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you don't follow or subscribe to Wolfe already, check him out. He's an amazing player, and this team is really fun to play with. So we're just going to hop onto the ladder and see what we can find, currently at a rating of 1623. Been a little bit busy the last couple of days, especially because of the March International Challenge, which I kind of spent the last couple of days grinding through. I actually finished with a rating of over 1800 and a record of 21-0, which was pretty cool. But we're going to get started with today's episode with Man Baby from Tennessee with a rating of 1668. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I would really appreciate it. You'll notice that I laughed a little bit there because Man Baby here has a really cool Pokemon. There's an Exeggutor, which is a pretty cool Pokemon to see. You know, Wolfe actually, hilariously enough, built a team around it and got second at Worlds in 2012. What some people may not know is that I actually used that team at Worlds that year too. I got top 8 at Worlds in 2012, but unfortunately lost in the quarterfinals, so in the first round of Top Cut. But it's pretty interesting to see it here. I don't think this one is going to perform the same way Wolf's did back then. That was with like Harvest, and it was basically really bulky, and you could have some fun shenanigans with Leaf Storm and Power Swap. This one here, I would think, would try to take advantage of Chlorophyll. Otherwise, a relatively standard-looking team: Kangaskhan, Landorus, Crobat, Xerneas, Groudon. So, let's see here. Pretty tricky, I think. However, Salamence is really helpful, and Kyogre to revert the weather is also pretty great. Dag is solid, especially against Ferrothorn. But I actually really want Ferrothorn. Dag is solid against his Exeggutor, I should say. So, I think I'm actually going to lead Salamence Thundurus with Kyogre and Ferrothorn in the back. And reason being is, if I can eliminate the Groudon from the game, then Ferrothorn basically just wins the game. Other than maybe a superpower from Landorus and, of course, the low kick from Kangaskhan. So I could, but the Intimidate definitely helps out a lot against the physical type attackers, and shutting down Groudon is going to be my main priority. Of course, Kyogre is best for that. So we're actually going to see Crobat and Xerneas come out from my opponent, which I think is a pretty solid lead. And wow, the game just totally lagged there. Against my Thundurus and Salamence. This is pretty tricky for two reasons. One, my opponent can go straight for the Tailwind Protect, or he can go for the Quick Guard Geomancy. And what my opponent might not know is that I'm running max speed Thundurus. So one play I could make here is, wow, I've never seen my actual game lag like that so much. That's so weird. I could go straight for the Double Edge and Thunderbolt, expecting the Quick Guard, Dazzling Gleam, or Geomancy. And I think that's what I'm going to go for. Oh, I really want to figure out the lag issue here. I've never seen this happen before. But yeah. So my opponent has a bunch of options this first turn. He could go straight for the Protect with his Xerneas and Tailwind. If that's the case, that'd be pretty bad for me. Oh, he actually goes for the Super Fang of all attacks, so I'm okay with that. Targeting Thundurus. Maybe he's just going for full offense this turn. But I'm going to get a Thunderbolt off here, and that plus the Double Edge should pick up the knockout onto Xerneas. Although Thunderbolt did a little bit less than I was hoping for. Yeah, he actually hangs on. Oh, that's really bad. And he just Dazzling Gleams. That's a really bulky Xerneas. He just picks up a double knockout. Yikes. So that play would have worked out okay, but Xerneas ended up being a lot bulkier than I expected, because normally I pick up that knockout. As he's Life Orb! Wow. Bulky. I think I might just lose the game out right there, though, which is really bad. Because now I don't have weather control, and I just lose Groudon. So maybe I should have played safer that first turn, but I don't know. I don't really mind that. I mean, we're probably going to see Groudon come in. If Groudon comes in here, I mean, it could be interesting, but it's actually going to be Exeggutor. Okay. So I have rain control here. However, my opponent is obviously going to want to switch out into Groudon. No, that's the interesting thing. If I can catch Groudon on the switch out, and like Ice Beam Power Whip picks up a knockout somehow, that'd be legendary. But yeah, this is one of the games where maybe I played a little bit too aggressively turn one. I mean, Life Orb is pretty interesting too, because without the Life Orb, Thundurus probably could have been able to hang around from the Dazzling Gleam, which would have been really important, because having that extra Pokemon means you can switch Kyogre in and out. Otherwise, I'm not sure if I maybe actually switching out into Ferrothorn would have been a safer play. For example, switching out into Ferrothorn and going for a substitute on Salamence. which I actually like a lot just because he, I don't know, that way you covered the Geomancy option, but now I gotta pull something off here. Yeah, I think if you're my opponent, you should just play safe, but if I can somehow catch a Groudon switch in here, well, he protects Exeggutor, which is fine, but we're probably going to see a Super Fang or Tailwind. He's smart enough not to switch out either. Yep, he is going to go for that Tailwind. So, my opponent should have this game locked up, even though it's going to be 4-2. It's a very quick game, and it kind of came down to that first turn, the Xerneas being super bulky, because, of course, Wolfe's Thundurus is basically like full special attack and speed investment, I think. He actually hangs on from the Power Whip, because he 4 times resists that, so... Good play by my opponent for sure. I'm thinking maybe that actually helps me more than it hurts me. This is actually pretty interesting. The game's not over yet because he might be scared to switch. No, I mean, you shouldn't be scared to withdraw Crobat though. Because, you outspeed Kyogre. So the question is, do I want to predict the switch out this turn or do I want to attack this turn? I think I'm just going to protect and Gyro Ball this turn, see what I can do. He might switch Crobat out. Yeah. Which I think is actually his best play, but at this point in the game, I have to hope he makes a mistake. And it's kind of funny saying that because it's been like a 3-turn game. But yeah, not much I can really do here. I wonder how much Gyro Ball actually does to the Exeggutor. But really nicely done on my opponent's end. Was not expecting the Life Orb bulky Xerneas, and that's really what ended up saving him. And so, I played it like it was a regular Xerneas. Perhaps I should have assumed it wasn't. But it's very rare to see Life Orb, obviously, since the Geomancy variant is the most common by far. And Exeggutor actually reveals Solar Beam as opposed to Leaf Storm. We're gonna get a Gyro Ball off here. I don't think he'll knock it out though. Yeah, does around 50%. He does actually hit the Citrus Berry, so maybe he is the Harvest variant with Citrus. Would be kind of cool. Yeah, wow, it is. I thought it might be like Chlorophyll, but no, that's why the Tailwind play was a really good one on my opponent's end. And he's basically got this one locked up. I'm trying to see how I can win this one. I don't think there's really a way, honestly. My opponent played smartly with that Groudon. I'm just gonna protect here, hope like I can survive a Solar Beam. I don't know, knock out Exeggutor. It doesn't really help me much either. I can't freeze. He is actually smart enough to protect with Exeggutor too. Just I guess it's not that really risky of a play. Oh, excuse me. If you have the Fire Punch or the Eruption. So maybe I could protect Ice Beam the Groudon, but yeah. Wow. Excuse me, I ate something right before this, and it's like getting my throat. Or maybe it's just because of how poorly I'm playing this one. And I really can't complain. Like, I don't think I played that poorly. It just came down to the surprise first turn, which is why best of one can be super volatile. Instead, the better play would have probably been to just switch out in a Ferrothorn to threaten offensively against both my opponent's Pokemon. Would have put me in a significantly better position. But most of the times, I don't mind that. And in best of 3, I definitely make the right adjustments. But let's see, now all my opponent has to do is Solar Beam, Kyogre, and Eruption. So, even if I hope for a double protect, it doesn't really help much. Yeah, this game's basically over. Yeah, I'm gonna fail that double protect. Oh, he actually Precipice Blades. Huh, that's an interesting option. And I'm faster with Kyogre, wow. And I picked up the knockout? What? Very confused on what just happened. So I outsped it outside of Tailwind. Which is definitely interesting. If I Leech Seed there... No, I still lose because... Huh, not necessarily. So maybe I shouldn't have gone for the double protect and gone for a Leech Seed instead. Now you just Super Fang Eruption? Maybe? Or you can risk Precipice Blades. I would Eruption Super Fang here. So if he misses Super Fang, I can still win this. Here, I guess I'll just Ice Beam Crobat and protect. Yeah, I don't really understand why my opponent made that play. I think if he just... I guess he might have known Exeggutor was slower. Yeah, he's gonna be smart and set up the Tailwind here, though. Let's see. We're probably gonna see an Eruption come out. I don't. Even if he didn't erupt, if I Ice Beam, Leech Seed, the super, like, basically not knocking out Crobat earlier was actually kind of a big deal, I guess. So maybe I should have Gyro Balled there. He's gonna risk the Precipice Blades again. That's gonna connect with Kyogre. So I mean, even if I Leech Seed there, I don't win the game because then you can Eruption. The only way I win is if Kyogre manages to dodge the Precipice Blade, because then you have some mind games. You know, do I Eruption? Do I go for the Precipice Blades? So Leech Seed onto the Groudon would have been nice, but it certainly wouldn't have won me the game, unfortunately. Power Whip onto that slot that turn actually could have been interesting, because then I can threaten with Ice Beam the following turn, but I don't think the Power Whip Ice Beam combination even knocks out Groudon, which is the trickiest thing. So we end up losing 1-0 despite a really terrible turn 1, which was nice, and maybe I could have pulled it back in the end here. I didn't expect Kyogre to be faster than Exeggutor. That definitely caught me off guard under Tailwind. I didn't expect to pick up the knockout that turn either, so maybe I could have played a little bit better in the end game there. But I don't know, this is one of the games where your opponent should have the game won. I saved the video by accident, but pretty cool to see an Exeggutor for sure there, even though it didn't do very much. You know, definitely put on offensive pressure, and it's actually a pretty nice answer against Kyogre, although it's slower, so that was kind of surprising. But I don't mind that. I think that might have been our first, maybe our second loss with the team. But really well played by my opponent. It's not every day you get to see the Life Orb, Bulky Xerneas, and Exeggutor, so pretty cool to see both of those Pokemon. And yeah, I think in terms of adjustments I'd make in a best of 3, leading Landorus could be a viable option. Especially, okay, in best of 3, actually, this is how I would adjust. Knowing that my opponent doesn't have Power Herb and Geomancy on Xerneas, that means that he won't have the free Geomancy setup, whatever, as we're going to find Keyboardham from Italy with a rating of 1626. Pretty sure we played him a fair amount back in VGC 2015, so that's pretty fun. But yeah, in a best of 3, knowing like he doesn't have Geomancy would be huge, so I'd be able to take advantage of that. I'd probably prioritize knocking out Crobat, and then I could Paralyze, and then bring in Kyogre at some point. And yeah, go from there. But I mean, my leads were just way too weak against Xerneas, which was the biggest issue. But let's talk about this game. We got Groudon, Xerneas, Kangaskhan, Talonflame, Smeargle, and Clefairy. So, big 6 here, but with the Clef over the Mega Salamence that we normally see on these teams, which is pretty solid. Salamence is always pretty good against this team. I like Salamence Thundurus as the lead most of the time because I can double protect, but the Clef here for redirection is actually super scary, and for that reason it's making me thinking about bringing in something like Ferrothorn. I don't know, I typically like Salamence Thundurus, Ferrothorn, Kyogre. I think that might be the best option here. Yeah. But the issue is, once again, if my opponent leads Xerneas, we saw in the last game how downhill that can get. Though once again, you know, my opponent was able to pick up the knockout there because of the Life Orb. So Xerneas is without Life Orb, you know, in this kind of setup typically want a Geomancy. So you can take a turn to Geomancy. If I get like a Taunt off, then I can Thunder Wave you next turn. He does actually go with the Clefairy Xerneas lead that I thought he might have gone with, which is a great option. So Intimidate doesn't help me at all. Obviously, we probably have Kangaskhan and Groudon on the back. And I think, actually, this first turn, I want to go straight for the Ferrothorn switch in. And I want to taunt the Clefairy. Now, my opponent can be really smart and protect Clefairy and Geomancy, which would be a phenomenal play. One that would set me back a fair amount. But even if that's the case, the next turn I can just Thunder or Taunt and Gyro Ball, knowing that I've got the Focus Sash on Thundurus. So I'm going to switch into Ferrothorn because, you know, kind of learned my mistakes from the last game. He actually withdraws Clefairy. That's an interesting option. A really good one at that. Here's Kangaskhan coming in, and are we going to just see a Geomancy come out from Xerneas? Let's see. Maybe I should have taunted Xerneas then. He's going to Geomancy probably. Oh, no, he just Dazzling Gleams, actually. Okay. Really good play there. And actually, I guess Dazzling Gleam does do more. So, might not be a roll even. But that was an excellent turn 1 from my opponent. He obviously completely read me there. You can low kick Ferrothorn. I think if you're my opponent, I mean, you might want to fake out Thundurus or low kick Ferrothorn. I think I want to Thunder Wave Xerneas here for sure. Kind of want to double up onto it actually with the Gyro Ball and a Thunder Wave. That's what I'm going to do. He could switch out, but I think there's little reason to. Kangaskhan puts on some good pressure right now. Oh, he actually does switch out. Is he switching out in protecting or geomancing? I think if you're switching out into Groudon here, you should definitely be protecting with Xerneas, but we'll see. If he doesn't protect, that would be phenomenal for me, because getting rid of Xerneas means Kyogre has a better time, and it means Salamence, actually, more importantly. So I'd be kind of shocked if he gave this one to me, but we'll see. You never know, maybe he wants to play super aggressively. Yeah, but he's going to make the right play here of just going for the protect, which I definitely agree with. However, that's fine, because I can still Thunder Wave that slot this next turn, which is pretty good. Leech Seed onto Kangaskhan slot would have been pretty nice here, but yeah, I can't really complain too much. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to protect, and I'm going to Thunder Wave here. He might switch out into Kangaskhan or Clefable, but I'm fine with either switch outs, because what this will allow me to do is set up my Kyogre in the back, and as long as I deny Xerneas of Geomancy, that's the most important thing. But the last 2 turns definitely could have been played out better. My opponent's been making some pretty solid plays, honestly. You know, you don't expect switches too much normally with this team because you want to go kind of aggro offense, but my opponent's been really smart about that, not letting me shut down anything. Looks like he is going to stay in this turn, so I should be guaranteed the paralysis on Xerneas, which is a big deal. However, he's probably still going to go for Geomancy, which is kind of a concern. So let's see. Where's the paralysis? Oh no, he actually just Dazzling Gleam. So my opponent playing safely, just getting as much damage off as possible. I actually don't mind that Dazzling Gleam. I'd rather have that over Geomancy since Paralyzed Xerneas is still faster. And what this allows me to do now is bring in my Kyogre, so Groudon now can't Fire Punch me, and I outspeed. So what I can do here is just go for a Water Spout Gyro Ball, or I can actually go for a Protect Gyro Ball, which could be an interesting decision. However, the thing is, Groudon might consider switching out here. Should Groudon switch out, that would be kind of a concern for me. And I think if you're my opponent, you're going to want to switch out with Groudon here. You could Precipice Blaze, of course. That is certainly an option. But I think here, I'm actually just going to Gyro Ball, Xerneas, and Water Spout. If I can eliminate Xerneas, then Salamence can come back in safely. So even though I'm down 4-3 and the only thing I've done so far is paralysis onto Xerneas, I've put myself into a position to win the game. The field advantage right now is heavily in my favor, and for that reason I don't want to play defensively. I know that this is basically maybe the turning point of the game where I can get things back into my favor. He is going to withdraw the Groudon, maybe into Clefairy, which I think would be a good Pokemon. Yep, it is Clefairy coming in. So let's see if he protects with Xerneas. No protect, which means I will be able to pick up basically the knockout onto Xerneas and deal a lot of damage there. But he is not going to get fully paralyzed. Going to be able to survive that too because of the Friend Guard. But the Moonblast actually does less than expected. So looks like a pretty bulky Xerneas on my opponent's end here as well. But Gyro Ball will come out. Actually doesn't pick up the knockout because of the paralysis. Wow, wasn't expecting that. And that's interesting. And it's interesting for 2 reasons, because now if you're my opponent, you could switch Clefairy back out into Groudon, or you could just go for the Follow Me play. I'm actually fine with either. I think I'm going to just Ice Beam Xerneas and Leech Seed Clefairy. That covers all the options, I think. Because he might Protect switch out into Groudon. He protects Clefairy, okay. But does Xerneas protect as well? Because if I eliminate Xerneas, then Salamence... Yep, okay, no protect. So there's the Ice Beam onto Xerneas. That's good. That's a knockout. So, if anything, that might have helped me more than it hurt me. And now I did get rid of the biggest threat to the Salamence, which now can come in and just spam Hyper Voice, which is great. Clefairy, of course, could carry like a special type attack, though, like Moonblast, which is a little bit scary. But Groudon's going to come in now. I mean, you probably Precipice Blades here. I could make the read of staying in with Ferrothorn. I think I'm just going to play it safe here, though. I'm going to switch out into Mence. And I don't have Tailwind on the Mence on this one, which kind of sucks. But I can just Ice Beam. But I won't. Yeah, I'll just switch out into Mence here. Oops. Already did that, and here I'll go for the Ice Beam onto Clef. Yeah, that way actually the idea is to get Kyogre back in for Rain, and then Ferrothorn comes in. Groudon will be intimidated, so he can't touch me in general. Game's certainly not over, though. Oh, he goes for the helping hand. That's a cool play. We're gonna see the Precipice Blades. The Rock Tomb! But targeting Kyogre, that's not gonna do that much damage, actually. That's probably the best case scenario, actually, as I get an Ice Beam off here. And that's Clefairy going down. So we're up 3-2 now after falling down 4-3, which is obviously great. There should be a couple turns left in this game now. But the Rock Tomb actually changes things drastically, because Groudon can Rock Tomb me, which is really bad. That's really bad. He could also Power Up Punch his own Groudon right now, if he really wants to go all in. He might also predict me to switch out. What do you do here for my opponent? I actually kind of want to switch Salamence out into Ferrothorn and Protect to Psycho and Intimidate. That's what I'm going to do. Because you're probably expecting Kyogre to switch out at this point. And if he goes for the Fake Out onto the Salamence slot, that'd also be fantastic, because then I'd get the Iron Barbs damage. So let's see. Groudon is at -1. We've seen its full moveset now. Fire Punch, Precipice Blade, or Precipice Blades. I don't think we've seen that yet, but can assume that. And Rock Tomb, of course. That's a pretty cool fourth option on Groudon, though, since the fourth move is always up for toss. Wow, he actually does go for the Power Up Punch play into himself. Very nicely done there. And that might actually secure the game for my opponent. Great read. Wow, really just going all in there, not fearing the Kyogre switch out, which I actually think is the correct play. So now you can Fire Punch. The issue is, if Rain stayed up, I think I'd win this game, but because Rain goes down when Kyogre goes down, here I think you just Fire Punch Ferrothorn, Double Edge Kyogre. Do I have an option? What can I even do? That's the safest play. Yeah, I think my opponent made an excellent play that last turn. There wasn't actually much I could have done other than Hyper Voice Ice Beam, but that doesn't even help me that much. I guess I could sack Ferrothorn. And Ice Beam. Yeah, I think that Power Up Punch play, that's, yeah, I always mention that play. I never see my opponent go for it, but this is the first time we actually see my opponent going for it. Really nicely done. Here's a return onto Kyogre. That's going to be a knockout, obviously. So, yeah, maybe if I switched, I don't know. I think the Power Up Punch play onto himself, like, that's something maybe I should have anticipated. Let's see, if I withdrew Mence out there, I sacrifice Mence, bring in Kyogre, then the Rain is up. I think it still comes down to like a double protect or not. But I guess that at least gives me a chance of winning, whereas right now, like, I don't think I have any chance of winning. Unless -1 return doesn't knock me out, which is certainly possible. Or he like chokes and protects with the Groudon. But yeah, I don't think I can win this one. So, pretty rough episode today with the losses, but two fantastically played games by my opponent, so I can't really complain too much about that. Yeah, he's not going to make any save play of protecting or whatnot. Hyper Voice does do a fantastic amount there. Let's see if return picks up the knockout here. Oh, that's a crit, yeah. I think that, I mean, plus Sucker Punch obviously knocks me out, so not much. He's just going to safely Fire Punch here. Should pick up the knockout. Yeah, as it does. So, both of my Pokemon going down, and that's going to be an 0-2 loss. But really, this game, my opponent was just one step ahead of me the entire game, honestly. The switch outs constantly just read me really like a book. And it was, you know, credits to him, honestly. That was fantastically managed on his end. And I don't know, I don't think there were mistakes that I made in terms of, like, but if anything, like, I should have had maybe a little bit more aggressive of reads, but you know, he had the advantage from the get-go with the lead matchup, and he was able to play it to his advantage, because when you have that, you can go for so many different plays while your opponent's on the back seat. So really, really well done. Credits to both of my opponents today. It was a really fun episode despite the loss, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Anyway, we'll do our best to recover in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright. Peace.